All right, everybody. Oh, happy day. Hope you're doing insanely well. I'm sitting here with my good friend in the business, Noah. We're going to talk about Facebook leads. We're going to talk about some of the frustrations that you're not being told. Because when you're trying to translate this business into powerful success, you want to know not only the pros, but you want to know the cons. And sometimes in this industry, it's all shiny, shiny, shiny. And they aren't saying some things that you need to really be aware of. So we're just going to kind of spitball, talk with you, the audience. Noah, say hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for coming on, brother. And you've done the Facebook lead systems. You've been with me, man, what has it been? About 2 years now, going on your second year?
Yep, going on second year.
And did you started off kind of doing, you bought a Facebook ad course and then started doing the Facebook lead thing, right?
Yeah, so I had a background. When COVID hit, my insurance world kind of changed. The place where I was at wasn't really doing telesales at the time. So there wasn't much training going on. So I actually started a marketing agency then. I had known about Facebook advertising a little bit. I thought I knew a lot, didn't know a lot. That's when I started. That was back in 2019, 2020, whenever COVID really kind of shut everything down.
Right.
So I got back into it, linked up with you, and started trying to do my own lead gen and stuff like that on Facebook.
Lead gens, there's nothing against lead gen. Everybody knows I'm down, go for it. But sometimes the problems that are faced when you're creating those, what were some of the frustration points? Because at first it was kind of smooth, right? And it always is
Yeah.
at first. It was real smooth for you at first, right? You were getting kind of some low cost leads and they were coming in pretty fast in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime there's a brand new ad account that's starting to spin, Facebook typically will take their money. And then if they see a few things that they want to flag, they'll cancel the ad or whatever. But that's always the first big thing is I see all the time people are talking about their ads being disabled, and it's gonna happen. Especially if you're doing lead forms, which is where they're on Facebook, and they have to put their info in on Facebook. They're pretty strict about things like that. So you're gonna get your ad is gonna get disabled for something at some point. So yeah, those are out of the gate you don't really know what to do sometimes with stuff like that. It's kind of trial and error. Then you kind of figure out what Facebook likes, what they don't like, but then that changes the next week. So it's a constant learning system, and if you don't have the time to put into it, there's not really a place for you in that aspect.
It can take a lot of your bandwidth. I know it's done this to so many agents that have bought systems where sometimes people get ones where they pay thousands of dollars and somebody does it for you. And then they get the same frustration points where you've kind of faced it, where you got to all this time, your account gets flagged. And a lot of people don't even realize that you can actually lose your Facebook account just by posting ads. Like
Yeah.
your personal Facebook account gets shut down. Has that happened to you where your personal Facebook account got like basically decimated?
Oh yeah, I had started running some different kinds of ads than I was used to. Started getting some spam emails, and it was one that was marked as if it was a Facebook email. Like totally normal email that I got. The only difference I didn't catch the email address, but everything was marked, had their logos and everything. So you got to be really careful, especially when you're starting ads or you're changing kind of the way you're running things. You'll get things like that. And like you said, if you're running things that Facebook doesn't like, they can just shut you down entirely. I mean, it's their platform; they can do what they want. Obviously, we've seen that,
Right.
But yeah, you got to be really careful about making them mad. You want to try to make everything as smooth as you can.
Even as smooth as, you're very good at
Yeah,
this, this isn't like your first rodeo
right.
in this event. Like, you know how to do SEO marketing, you know how to do Facebook leads, you've done it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, but you've also got the scars from it,
Yeah,
where sometimes people aren't being raw with you and real with you. They're kind of saying, hey, go to your Facebook leads. It's really cheap and free and easy. And it's just a low cost lead. What was your experience when you had these low cost leads even pouring in? Did you realize that these low cost leads weren't all they were maybe chopped up to be?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, right out of the gate, when you're starting to get those leads, like if people are advertising to me that they're generating leads for $3 to $5 a piece, that always kind of concerns me, just because my mindset now is way different than I was, a few years ago. Like a few years ago, you give me any kind of lead, and I think it's the best thing in the world. And nowadays, especially with the marketing background that I have, as much as I've done it, it's if somebody's advertising you, leads that cheap, there's a reason why they're that cheap. You need to understand that. Like the number one thing that I tell people is a Facebook lead or Google, whatever, it's always going to be that. Facebook lead isn't going to be a live transfer quality. It's not going to be anything, you shouldn't compare it to other things. It is what it is. And with me personally, I like to have a little bit more intent with my ads. So I would never advertise anything for free. I would never, even I might put affordable in there. Most of the time I was putting, this is going to cost something, and still able to generate, leads for $7 to $10 a piece. And to me, if you can do that and you have the time and discipline to set that to, have a designated time to do that, that's where you can become really profitable. But if you're, if you're generating $3 to $5 leads and you're having to go through 100 or 150 to get to one, that's not worth it to me. I would much rather spend a few extra dollars and then have a better, closing ratio or have a better conversion rate than a 1 to 1.5% conversion.
Right. Having a low conversion rate, it's like almost like one ply toilet paper. Yeah, it's cheap, but
Yeah.
it makes you feel dirty when you're done.
Yeah.
And Facebook leads, to me, it's almost like that same feeling. Sorry to be crass with the audience, but it's kind of like one ply toilet paper. You need to really have a lot of that paper to
Yeah.
get the same job done. Where a higher quality lead, like what Noah's talking about here, just leaves you with a better feeling. Everything's cleaner, everything's more efficient, more importantly. But your ROI, that you're going to be producing, your cost per acquisition, that's so stinking important as an insurance agent, like to have a bunch of cheap leads. And then have you experienced where maybe your ad spend was really inexpensive for your lead cost and everything just skyrocketed as far as what it cost per lead?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You have to really play with like your schedule. So how the ads are running. And like one, especially now we're rolling up on enrollment season for Medicare. So across the board, people that are way smarter than me and have spent way more money on Facebook than me will say your costs are probably going to go up 25 to 30%, if at least.
Really?
So you can expect those $10 leads to start going up to $13, whatever it's going to be, and that adds up over time. So you really have to kind of be careful, and it happens every day. One day you might get ads for or get leads for $7 a piece. The next day it might be 15 and you only get a couple. So you just kind of gotta. It's one of those things like you said. You have to be disciplined. You have to have a specific time set aside to work on marketing. But the rest of the time, once you get everything dialed in, you should have your working hours should be on the phone closing deals.
Absolutely. And you've had a lot of success, and you've had also, these Facebook setbacks trying to make
Yeah.
Facebook leads and the frustration that it caused. And this isn't just frustration that it caused you, countless other agents, as you know, in our agency. And we do run a national agency at jasonfinalexpense.com selling life, Medicare, and annuities. We do it face to face. We do it in the telespace. And it's powerful, but I've seen so many agents that buy certain systems to make Facebook leads, or they have somebody else do it for them, and then they just get ditched on the side of the road when their Facebook ad gets shut down. You lose access to your own uh, pile of pictures and all these great things that you have on your Facebook. It gets basically just killed. Am I right here?
Yeah, absolutely. I had, in my case, it was like 12, 13 years worth of memories from, you know, everything, and all that's gone. I'll never get that back. So,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
there's so many, I mean, me and you hear these stories all the time. It's unfortunate when new agents come in and they get fed this idea that, you pay X amount of dollars, we'll have we'll build out this thing for you, and then leave it to you and you just do what you want with it. The problem with that is it's all good in the beginning, like you said. Typically it's usually really really fast. You can get some quick sales. You'll probably make your money back off the system if you do it right, honestly. But the problem becomes in the weeks after that, when when Facebook really starts looking at what you're doing, and then they find those things that they don't like, then they shut it down. And if you don't know what you're doing with it, everything will go away, and you won't be able to advertise. And then what typically happens after that, they don't know what leads to buy. They may try to buy some other leads that are of the same, type of quality, and they end up filling out in the few months that they're in the business.
It hurts good reps. I mean, thank God it didn't
Yeah.
take you out of this industry, but it's taken out some really good producers that
Yeah.
kind of got shined on thinking that, well, I'm going to have this funnel. I'm going to have this fancy Facebook lead system, and I'm going to just sit back and all my calendar is going to be full, and I'm going to sit back and just slay it. And we've got, as you know, Noah, we've got people with marketing backgrounds, like straight up college degrees
Yeah.
in marketing. They're geniuses. You know what I'm talking about? Insanely gifted, wise agents that really know this industry, know Facebook, crazy talented. And it took some of these men and women out because the one leg of their stool was just Facebook leads. And it's sad. It takes people out because if that's all you're focusing on is thinking this unicorn is going to help you go to Mars, it can be tough when your memories are gone. You're debilitated with your Facebook. And it wasn't just one account that can get shut down. It can happen to both.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that's tied to, if your account gets shut down, anything that's tied to you after that's probably gonna get shut down. You're probably gonna get disabled. You should plan on that. So, and that's why, like, luckily when I joined your agency, one of the first things you told me was to have multiple legs on the stool. And so that's where, if you're a website guy, you need to really buckle down on working on your website. If you like telemarketed leads, you should constantly have those and use Facebook as a filler. Of all the high producing agents that I know and that most everybody will tell you that you should use Facebook, probably not as your primary source. I don't know anybody that is a top dog in the business that uses them as their only source of leads. They're great for filler leads, but like I said before, you need to understand they're a Facebook lead. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's the quality is the quality. You shouldn't fool yourself on it.
Those are wise words for you, the audience watching. Hope you hammer the like button. He's dropping truth bombs for you, and you're not getting told this. I don't know many videos that are this raw with you about the real deal. Most top producers, like he's saying, are not using Facebook leads as their primary source. And even some people that are telling you they're using certain leads as their primary source, let me share with you, they're not. I have conversations and they're like, it's not the truth. It's not the whole truth. It's things are being held back, like certain places that tell you they use these special leads that are being sold 10 million times. And it's not the real tale here. And you're being taken for a ride. Facebook leads, great filler lead. They're amazing as a filler lead, but you've got to have multiple legs on your stool if you're going to last. Because like when you're, Facebook ad the first time that it got shut down, what did that make you feel like when that took place?
Well, it was, I was working a big volume. The only way I would say any telesales agent should focus on Facebook ads or focus on Facebook leads is if you're having really big volume of them. And only do that if you can afford it, and if you have the money set aside, or if you know that you can generate them for what I would call low cost, $7 to $12. If you're not working 100 or 150 of them a week, there is no point in even trying it. You should have another lead source, and you should have your ads running. If you're wanting to run ads, you should have your ads running to supply you 30 to 40 filler leads. Start out on those in the mornings. I've heard a lot of people do that. Start on Facebook leads in the mornings, get yourself kind of in the zone for the day, and then transition to the bigger leads. But yeah, when all of mine got shut down, that was my primary lead source. I was doing short form, which is where they're on Facebook and they're putting in their info there, and I was doing long form where they were going to my website, filling out a quote request basically. And so I had those two things going, but unfortunately, like you said, it was all the same platform, and when they decided they didn't like me anymore, that was it. That went away. So Luckily, I've been really blessed to know people like you. A lot of people. I say a lot. It's only a handful of people have really helped me in this industry, and I've been fortunate enough to have been able to work referrals and work, other other things, moving behind the scenes and stuff. And luckily, that's kept me going. But if I was a brand new agent, I would have already had a job by now, or a quote real
Absolutely.
job by now.
Well, when your Facebook leads got shut down and that's the only leg of your stool, it's painful.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, oh, I don't have leads. And I remember that conversation. It was ugly. And it's
yeah,
like, this is the conversation that happens with every single person that I know that's ever done Facebook leads, either on their own. And for those of you that are trying to pay for a course, reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com. I'll get you a video, cost you $0, but don't use it as your primary. It puts every agent that I know that is in our agency that has ever done it in a place of frustration and pain, because you think it's the holy grail, and then everything starts slowing down after a couple of weeks. And it's, yes, the leads they're fast in how they're populated, but you also have to work them fast. Am I right? No, in your experience,
yeah.
like a Facebook lead, it's like tuna fish. It starts smelling sideways fast. You got to work them really quick. If not, they die fast, like the buyer intent. What's your thoughts on that? What is your
Yeah, absolutely.
firsthand?
There's like statistics. I mean, there's agencies out there that I know that spend tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year on Facebook. And even they'll tell you your contact percentage after the second call, which for people like us, that happens in the first day. It goes from about 30% really, really low. And I'm talking single digits after that. So you got to be, as soon as they're coming in, that's when they're on, that's when they're ready to go. So you got to be, you need to hammer them as soon as they come in. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do is they'll see it and they'll wait for them to try to book an appointment through their automation or whatever they have set up. And then that ends up handicapping them too. So they'll end up just waiting for forever. And then the next thing you know, you're calling them. You can even call them that afternoon and they'll forget what they did. They won't remember it.
Absolutely. And I remember, before you came onto the agency, I spent $19,000
Yeah.
having someone do all the Facebook stuff for me. Do not waste your time, in my opinion,
Mm-mm.
spending all this money in marketing when you should be making money just buying leads, seeing the people,
Yeah.
buying leads, seeing the people. But you've got to work them so fast. Like, the biggest failure is if that Facebook lead comes in, for those of you watching, immediately, and I mean like immediately, call this sweet person, because they're going to forget in an hour, 2 hours. By tomorrow, boy, take a hike. It's tough. So even if, when it
Yeah.
comes on the weekend, I remember, like, my wife, if it came in on a weekend and I'm home, if a Facebook lead came in, I would dive to the phone. No joke.
Yeah.
No, I would dive to the phone and like get a hold of that person right now, because I
Yeah.
knew that if minutes, hours later, it mattered. Did you
Yeah.
experience that too when you were running yours?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, my business with Facebook was a long journey. It was years, and it took me a while to figure out, like what you just said. You have to get them instantly. It doesn't. It's across all industries. Any kind of advertising on Facebook or a social media platform, people don't go on social media to buy stuff unless it's at a yard sale. Like now you have yard sales on
Right.
there, but they're not going on Facebook in our case to look at final expense insurance. Now people will go to Google for things like that, but they're not going to go on Facebook looking and planning on buying final expense insurance. So, and you have to remember that. So the thing is when they fill that out, it's fresh on their mind. They have literally just hit submit. If you have everything set up properly, they have just hit submit, and that is their highest intent that they're ever going to have, that a Facebook lead's ever going to have, anyways. So you really have to hammer those. And like for people that run ads, if you don't work weekends, do not run your ads on Fridays. You need to stop them on Thursday or Wednesday. Ideally, you want to fill up your week by Wednesday, and then just turn the machine off, kind of let it cool down, and then turn it back on Sunday night. But if you're not a weekend warrior, you don't need to be running ads on Fridays.
Wisdom for you, the audience. Hope you're paying attention to that nugget that he just dropped
Yeah.
you. That's huge for those of you even thinking about this. And it's just, even if you're purchasing your Facebook
Yeah.
leads, if you're going to let them stack up for a day or two, whoa, don't do that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
you really have to hit them fast. And I mean fast. Speed is so important to you making the sales here. if you're taking notes with Facebook leads. Other sources have a better shelf life, but Facebook leads are like fast food.
Yeah.
It'll fill your belly, but you're not going to feel real great about it when you're eating that stuff long term. And Facebook leads can eat you up, not only financially, but also from a frustration standpoint. And
Yeah.
I know countless agents that have done the Facebook systems, many others than you, and that have even the Calendly setup. Did you ever do the Calendly setup where people set up their, I don't know if they call it Calendly, but they set up the calendar appointments, let
Yeah.
people self-book themselves to talk to you? Did you ever do
Yeah.
that on Facebook?
Yeah, I did. And it worked, but
Good.
like I said, I did my stuff a lot different than what you see, across our industry. A lot of
Right.
people really want the cheapest Facebook lead they can get. And I learned really quick, cheap doesn't mean good. So, I did mess around with appointments. Um, at this point in my career, I'm not a big appointment guy. I'm not, I like them.
Sure.
But I would much rather be in control. I want to talk to them when I decided I want to talk to them. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the way I am now. Appointments are really good, but even those, they'll forget. If you don't have everything, dialed in. The thing about appointments is they're great if your system is dialed in to reminding them to get, to sending them certain things for them to. It's basically trial closes. You're sending them certain things to get them to agree to things, and you want to make sure that they're there. But even with appointments, um, you're still going to have no shows, and with Facebook, you're going to have a lot of them.
What was your show ratio on average? Were you
um,
getting half the people showing up? Were you getting 25% that showed up? What was your ratio?
I never kept up with the show ratio as much.
Yeah.
Now, close ratio on appointments is typically higher if you got through a full presentation.
If they
Those
show up,
are
absolutely.
exactly, yeah, those are pretty good. But even they're lower than what a lot of people advertise. Um, but the show rate, I would guess the show rate was probably around 35-40%. And
Pretty
then
low
out of
show rate. So about
yeah,
70+% were not showing up.
I would yeah, if I was a betting guy, I would bet that it was probably close to that.
And that's the ugly thing. Like there's so many people in the YouTube scene that are just fluffing
Hmm.
people's feathers. And I'm not going to do that to the audience. We don't do that in our agency either, as you know. And you do such great work in the field and on the phones. And you've sold annuities, you've sold the full block, you've sold Medicare supplements
Yeah,
in our agency. It's crazy. You're talented big time. So you're not some brand new agent that doesn't know any different. You're gifted in SEO marketing, you're gifted in the Facebook marketing, and here you are, and your show rate's not even 50%, and you're doing everything right. And,
right.
and
Yeah,
that's
and
people are telling people that it's way higher show rates than this.
yeah,
And then people are just saying this to sell you a system. People are just saying this to sell you sometimes a bill of goods, and you're going to get got here.
yeah,
There's difference between truth and then fiction here. And with
yeah,
so many agents that do this in my agency and other big agents across this nation that we consult with, it's the same tune, but it's not always being told. And to have a no-show rate that high, you're basically just kind of setting yourself up for a no-show. If they
yeah,
show up, though, you're right. Those people are done. Like,
yeah,
especially with
yeah.
your follow-up systems, that's a buyer.
Yeah, those the ones that show. I mean, you can have close rates above 50% on those. I mean, I've had them. The thing is when people advertise, X amount of X percentage of show rates, it can be that for a day,
Right.
but the next day is the law of numbers is coming back in. And that's what I think a lot of people get caught up on. They're seeing these really high percentage shows. It's okay, tomorrow I could probably go book, 10 appointments and have 8 of them show up, but the next day I might only have 1 out of the 10. But they're not going to advertise that part. They're going to advertise the high part. And I see agents now. I saw one the other day. They were posting on Facebook saying that they're so proud. They're brand new, just started, so proud to only work appointment leads. And me and you both know that person's not going to be in the industry for 2 months.
Done.
And the problem is they get shined on, like you said. They think that something. They think something's going to happen that's not going to happen. Or it might for a little bit, and then it might just tank. What I always recommend to people, I would never recommend anybody to pay someone to do your or do your Facebook ads for, especially for final expense. There is so much on YouTube. You have them on your channel. There are so many free resources. You shouldn't pay anybody to do it for you. You should just watch a few of those videos, take an hour or 2 hours, however long the videos are out of your day, and figure out how to do it. You shouldn't pay anybody to do it, I don't think. And then the you need a long-term plan. You need to understand what it is. The quality is the quality, and there's only so many things you can do to it to help. You can add websites, you can start doing long form leads, which those are, if I was doing Facebook leads, if I was able to, that's what I would be doing. Because those conversion rates are much better. You're not, and it's not an appointment game.
Right.
You're getting people to request information from you from a branded website. And that, to me, if you're doing Facebook, that's the way to go. But the appointment stuff, some people really like them and they're good. When they're answering, they're good. But you need to understand it is what it is. It's the quality is the quality.
And it's so important that people know this. And it's like a lot of people will try to sell you on automations. And I'm not saying
Hmm.
there's anything wrong with automations for you, the audience. There's nothing wrong with it, but be careful, for goodness sakes. You cannot
Yeah.
just sit back and put your business on blankety blank automation,
Yeah.
this, automation, that, pay people for this. I mean, I know you and I both know one of the agents that used a well-known,
Hmm.
well-pushed, professional marketed automations. We won't say the name here, but sells and gets pushed by a lot of places, blows up your email box to try to sell you something. That particular place, our sweet agent did it during the trial to get out of it. Did it like one time, got one sale, was like, oh, this is great, I got a sale. They posted that, and then she canceled it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is garbage. Got good
Yeah.
leads. But everybody sees that and thinks, oh, it's great. And
Right.
it wasn't. And it's like, automations are fine, but we have to control the call. We have
Yep.
to control everything in the process. And how you're even telling the audience, like, no, I'd rather just pick up the phone. They'll pick up.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, I would.
get a
Yeah.
hold of them.
Yeah, you'll find the time. Like I said, there's public studies you can look up on Google that show the contact rates from people that spend 50 to $100 million a year on marketing for their telesales agency, even with final expense. You can find those online, and it'll tell you exactly what the contact rate is. And most of the time, they're working Facebook leads. So you really got to know the shelf life. Yeah, the automation is to me, automation is like the Facebook stuff, or the way I view it is anyways. If you have the system dialed in and you know exactly what you're doing, then automation is fantastic. But automation
Sure.
can kill an agent just like Facebook leads can. Working them solely. Um, the problem is that people, especially new agents, want this automation that is going to sell them a policy without them having to work. And every once in a while, every once in a while that works. Like sometimes there's clients that want to do business over a text message, and then you call them and ask them the health questions. But that is few and far between. You're going to be, and if you're getting those kinds of clients, you're going to be spending lots of advertising money to get that one or two client. I've only had that happen, a handful of times. Now, if
Right.
when it comes to automation, what I would like to see people do is find someone that is very, very good and has a good workflow already, and then just ask permission to mimic it. That's I've been fortunate enough. I know some really good people. I've had some great help, especially when it comes to automation and when it
Absolutely.
comes to Facebook, website, things like that. So the ticket is not to reinvent the wheel. You want to try to do something that works. And like you said, a lot of times people will set up all these different workflows to do so many different things. Next thing you know, they're being charged a ton of money, and they had no idea that it was going to be that expensive. But that's the unfortunate part of automation.
Right, because data costs, we'll dive into that just a
Yeah.
little bit. In our agency, we've got tons of great agents, amazing. And some of our agents kind of bought into the automations aspect. I'm going to do tons of text, tons of follow-ups, tons of emails, tons of this and that, and they weren't told about the data charges. Every one of those texts costs money.
Yeah.
Every one of those things costs money. And when you're talking getting a surprise bill for just a hair under $400, that's
Yeah.
a shock to
Yeah.
somebody that's an agent just trying to start out. And you think, oh, it's not going to be that bad. And that'll tune you up in a bad way. And the
Yeah.
agent's a great agent, and it can take some agents out when you aren't being told about data charge with your CRM, and more importantly, the data side of it. CRMs are great, but it's
Mhm.
the data side that you're not being maybe
Yeah.
dialed into the real cost, because every one of those texts is going to cost you money. Every one of those emails is going to cost you to engage. And if you're just putting everything on blast, did it create this massive difference for you? Because I know the
Yeah.
agent that's with us that spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all this automation, it didn't engage the consumers
Yeah.
in this mind-changing way.
Yeah.
Did you have much difference with
Automation.
that?
I mean, automation. Again, you have to understand what kind of lead you're working with.
Right.
You're still working with a Facebook lead at the end of the day, and they are typically more digitally advanced than maybe like an age lead or something like that. But getting them to respond, if you're using automation in a way to get them to buy the policy over the text, or getting them to, in my opinion now, even book an appointment, I think that's just kind of useless. Um, but that's me. Like, some people love working appointments and some people are excellent at it. Um, but I would rather my automations be getting them try to get on the phone. I want
Mm,
them to like be excited for me to call them, and it doesn't take even 10 text messages. Like the workflows that I have now, they're not, like, it's like 2 to 3 texts and that's it. The same amount of emails, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, like me and you said, the life of that lead is not going to be very long. Now you can add them. I don't have problem seeing people add like a automation drip, like once a month, once every 2 months.
sure.
Reach out to them, because I think you'll close some deals that way. You just will. But the problem that I see a lot is that people have this idea that the automations are designed to close the deal for them. And in a way, I guess it does. It's designed to help you, but it will not do it for you. And you should never expect it to.
So you came from a different agency before you joined our
Mhm.
agency, for sure. And did you notice a big difference, big culture shift, and just even how we train? Because you went through the telemastery
Yeah.
program, and we're an absolute rock star. You tore it up, but it was it different for you going from the agencies that you were with prior to kind of how we operate?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I was transitioning to telesales, and so it was I needed everything I could get. Right, I needed to know how to talk, how to sound, things to say, and where I was at before, I didn't have that. I mean, I had a script that you can find online, and some of those are good, most of them are bad. But going into your agency, the support, the training that we got was second to none. Um, and then like I said, the support. I can't think of any time where I've needed help and I haven't got it, and while I'm on the phone with a client. So it was a big change. Whereas before it was kind of just yeah, I got to figure it out. So I would have to get the client off the phone, try to figure something out, call the carriers, call whoever for an underwriting question or a billing question even, and then pray to God that they would get back on the phone, which me and you both know they're probably not going to.
So you don't have to schedule a Calendly to get a hold of me. Like,
Right?
how long does it
No.
like when you reach out, just so the audience knows, how long does it normally take me to get back to you? If you text me, call me,
Yeah,
shout.
it's usually seconds. If I've texted you, if I'm on the phone with somebody, you'll usually ask me if I'm on the phone, and if I'm not, you'll call me right then. And if I am on the phone, you'll text me back and try to help me as best you can. And that's the whole culture is different too. Like even if because you write a ton of business. I don't know if your viewers know that, but you're an agency owner that still writes business, and in today's world, that's pretty rare. There's not a lot of people that do that. So while you're out doing the huge amount of volume that you do, I mean, we all help each other. We can all put our heads together and figure things out. But as far as waiting for you to answer something, I've never had that happen.
I'm just so proud of your success and just the men and women in our agency,
Yeah.
like the power of us, like what we all do and what you've done. I mean, insane to be able to write your never written an annuity in your life and you
Yeah.
just closed it. No big deal. I'm proud of you. That's huge. And then you sold Medicare supplement insurance. And prior
Yeah.
to, have you ever sold Medicare supplement insurance?
I had no idea what Medicare supplements were. I knew that
Yeah.
there was people that offered them. I knew I had the license to offer them, but I
Yeah.
never knew what they were. The same with annuities. I had no idea about annuities up until I wrote that one, pretty much,
Yeah.
or a few weeks before when we had gone through some training over it. That was the first I had really even understood what they were.
Just exciting to see, like, all of us as a work family, all the brand new reps that have never done anything before, to go through module-based systems and then make a difference in your clients' lives and be able
Yeah.
to sell an annuity. Like, you closed right away, and your Medicare supplement, you took care of it right away, and that's not real normal in this industry. Most
No,
times,
yeah.
was your last agency like that, or was it more like, "Hey, go figure it out. Here's a website." You're kind of on
Yeah.
your own a little bit.
The thing today is training typically takes place on pre-recorded videos online. Um, and so you can only learn so much from things like that, especially if the videos are old. Carriers have changed, underwriting's changed, so it's
Absolutely.
important to be somewhere where you're actively training, once, twice a week, and you're in constant contact with your upline, things like that, which luckily I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right? None of those problems. But you're powerful. You're doing great work. I mean, you're so gifted. I don't do SEO content. That's not my wheelhouse. It's not. And
Yeah.
yes, I do write some business. I love working alongside of Noah and the work family. I do. I don't talk about it much on YouTube, but I will never get separated from serving our prospects and doing what we all do. I
Yeah.
think it's too important. And I'm not going to let y'all have all the fun.
Yeah.
I like
Right.
doing it. And when you crush it, like, you slayed it and you continue to work on it and work on what you're doing, you're constantly work in the trenches of the telespace. It's not all unicorns and rainbows for you,
Mm-mm.
those of you, the audience. It's not. The harder we work, the luckier we get, 100%. But it's
Mhm.
not always $80,000 weeks and everybody's closing $1 million annuity cases on the weekly. It's not the truth. It'll happen to you, Lord willing, but it's not the law. It's not always going to be. And this industry does have its ups. It's got its downs. The longer that we're in this industry, it does level out though.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of leads, and Facebook leads, creating your own. It shouldn't be your primary leg of the stool. In my opinion, I don't know of a single agent in our entire agency. No, do you know a single agent? We got hundreds and hundreds of agents. Do you know one single agent that does that as their primary method long term?
No, not long term. It's
Have you seen agents?
it's okay to use while you're trying to supplement. And even for new agents starting out, if you don't have just a ton of money to go buy television leads or whatever kind of high intent leads, Facebook's really good, but you're gonna have to work them really, really hard. And so unlike what a lot of people say, you still got to work them pretty. I mean, they're some of them are pretty tough.
Yeah, you're right. You've told the audience, and I have too, so many times. It's not a sale. It's a lead. It's an
Yep.
opportunity to have a great conversation. And the conversation with a Facebook prospect is not the same lead that you would get from another type of lead
Yeah.
source, because the shelf life is just so short. That's why we're trying to get this across to you. You got to work them fast, fast, fast. And you're going to be extremely frustrated and you're going to feel like you got hustled if you're just doing your own Facebook leads, you're stacking your paper, and then everything goes wrong. Your Facebook ad gets shut down. And then you have to use your, spouses, mom, can I borrow your Facebook account? I'm going to destroy that too. You can't, it's just crazy. I mean, it
Yeah.
debilitates you when this happens. I mean, to lose 12 years, you were saying 12 years of memories.
Yeah,
Just
it was at least 12. It was probably more than that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, some big memories. All that's gone.
that's not being told. It's just not. And it does take a lot more leads to get the same results as
Yeah.
other lead vendors. And if you're a brand new agent watching this, I'm not trying to downplay you getting good price leads. That's crazy important. You can reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com. I'll give you some good resources for your taking. But it's very important that you understand that a really cheap lead with almost no buyer intent is going to take you for a ride. You're going to need so many of them, and the shelf life stinks.
Yeah.
It just does. And having another lead source that has a longer shelf life, it's better. Like we've got so many lead sources, and is it better in a lot of ways for an agent just to buy leads and see the people, buy leads and get on the phone, even if it's
Yeah.
an agent
So
lead?
self-generating leads is right for the right person.
Absolutely.
For the person that's disciplined and that they can decide, okay, these hours I'm doing my marketing, preferably in the morning before, most people get up. That's when you should be doing that. I think that's when I do most of my website work,
Right.
or at nighttime when it's too late for me to call my clients. But the phone hours, 9 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever it is that you want to work, that should be time for you to sell. And as far as the leads go, I think the best leads for an agent is the best ones they can afford, right?
Absolutely.
So, and sometimes for some people that's age leads, for some people that's Facebook leads, and then other people can afford live transfers. If you like that, that's fine. Other people can afford Google leads, things like that. But if you're not the person that is able to understand that the marketing is one business and then the selling is another business, you should probably just buy leads and then see the people, like you said. You have to see them. They're both full time. You can't do one part time, one full time. They're both full time. I mean,
Exactly.
if you're doing advertising for, I don't care if you're building a website, doing Facebook, especially for the first part of you're building your Facebook campaigns, you're going to spend 15, 20 hours a week tweaking and doing things with them, and website, and you'll be doing more than that probably if you're really trying to do the SEO work and stuff like that. So yeah, you need to kind of just be honest with yourself, figure out what kind of person you are, what kind of worker you are is really the deal, and how disciplined you are. Because if you're not, you'll spend way too much money, and you won't get that back.
That hurts because some agents think, oh, it's easy. I'll pay
Yeah,
somebody. It's all done for me. I don't got to do
yeah,
nothing. I just sit back and leads just pile in and my pipeline's full and my calendar's booked and I just sit back and like playing whack-a-mole at Chuck E. Cheese. They
yeah,
think it's just easy and it's not. It
no,
really isn't for people. And they sometimes, certain things get put up that aren't always the truth. Maybe it's like,
mhm,
oh, I was on vacation and I didn't even work and a person accidentally booked themselves on my calendar and I'm
yeah,
on the beach and I made 5 grand to be like me. It's not the truth. Like 90% of the agent force fails sometimes because of bad information that they think is the
yeah,
case. Like this business isn't about sitting on a beach working one appointment and making crazy wealth. Can it happen? Yes. Is that going to most likely be you or me? No. I mean, things can happen, but it's
yeah,
it's so rare. It's not the everyday.
yeah. It takes an extreme amount of volume to do things like that, and still, is it? I mean, is it really ethical to be selling people things and not even? I've seen some things of people letting their automation sell, and they're not really even talking to them. So is that really ethical? I would
Right?
rather talk to my clients, make sure that they know exactly what they're getting into, and but that's just me. A lot of people do a lot of things different, but like you said, that the guy sitting on the beach yelling at people to do Facebook advertising, that's that's just one of those things that we've been talking about. It's gonna, a lot of people, if you don't know what it is, you're gonna spend a lot of money, and I hope you get a return, but the unfortunate truth is most people don't.
Most people just don't know any better, and it's
Yeah.
automations are fine, but this is a relationship business. It's a relationship with like what we do with our clients, and you're so
Mhm.
good at it. No, you're crazy gifted, brother. I'm proud of you, dude. You do
Thank you.
amazing work. You always have, and it's to find amazing agents that are just taking care of good people with a kind heart. It's not always the case. And that's why, our agency is, we'll partner with 1 out of 30 people on average. We don't
Yeah.
bring everybody on because, you know, culture, would you say that's important to you in our agency? Just
Absolutely.
kind of
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no, rah rah beating your chest or anything like that. With our group, it's a very much building each other up. And we post our production and stuff, but that's not in any way trying to put somebody above the other one. It's to me, it's a motivation factor, right? Like if I see somebody posting big numbers, that just makes me want to go make more calls. So,
Right.
and that kind of culture that you've created has been huge for me. And I mean, I don't think I have a lot of experience in this industry. I've been licensed for 4 years, and I've been around the block. I mean, since I was in college, I've been doing this, and I've never been around a culture like what you've built. And to me, it's extremely positive, very much uplifting, and in our industry, that's pretty rare.
Appreciate you. And our work family is everything. It's like we do have a lot of fun together, and we do,
Yeah,
it's okay to rile each other.
yeah,
You should too. It's gonna have to fun. But
yeah,
this
absolutely.
business is kind of a tough business, would you say sometimes?
Yeah, yeah. It's a if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and everybody would be,
Exactly.
posting six-figure numbers or seven-figure numbers like some people do.
Right.
But and it all kind of comes back to like what we were talking about, like the things that you see about Facebook advertising and about automations and stuff. The the top tier of people are, they have everything streamlined, everything is good to go, and they're good. But that, like a new person, they're not going to have that. It takes time, it takes money, it takes, like I said, time. That's a huge thing for us in our industry. We're not getting paid unless we're selling. And a lot of people, if you can't go, a little bit without selling anything, you need to just be buying leads. You need to work with a group that has good lead vendors that are vetted, that have it's pretty much a turnkey system. You buy leads from here. People have made a lot of money off of those. That's
Absolutely.
important. You shouldn't be out there hunting for different leads or hunting for new ways to make sales. You know, the sale has been the same for the last 100 years, ever since people started selling insurance.
Right.
Our methods are different, but the more we try to, add and take away little things, the sometimes the farther away we go. I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for automation. I'm all for self-generating leads for the right person.
Absolutely.
But the wrong person, it just really hurts them if they're not meant for it, or if they don't know exactly how to work it. It's not effective, and all it is it's a toilet to flush your money down.
It's true. And you're so good about your time management. And most people are like, oh, well, if I got 40 hours in my week to work, well, your Facebook campaign may cost you 17 of those hours.
Yeah.
And you're wise enough to be able to time block yourself and say, okay, nope, these are my income earning hours, and
Mhm.
that ain't earning income, even though it helps me get a lead cheaper. That can chip away at our success for those of you watching. You've got to be very good about managing your time, or your time will be taken from you. And then you're going to realize you're not stacking the paper. Your
Yep.
profitability is going down just to save one, two, three, $4 a lead. It's not worth it. It's just
No.
not, because when your lead cost goes up, when the place that you bought your system from isn't serving you any longer because they got their money. If they're not picking up the phone, if they're not really helping you, you're not working in an agency where you got somebody that backs you up and quarterbacks you, you're going to be dropping balls, and everything's going to get more expensive. And you're wiser just to go buy leads. If it costs you an extra buck or two more, who
Yeah.
cares? Now you've
Yeah.
got 17 more hours to go introduce yourself to good people, to go get your money. And we've got, in our agency, we've got crazy high producers, and they don't make their own Facebook leads. They don't, and they could. They just don't. There's nothing wrong with it, though. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong. They get
Yeah.
other lead
Exactly.
sources. That's all.
The good thing is that those people that you're talking about, they know what they're good at,
Right.
and that they know that their time is better spent selling. And whether that comes from buying leads or however it comes, referrals, whatever. That's like I said, if you have to really just understand what your goal is. And Facebook should never be the priority. Your priority should be getting on the phone with people that need your help. And the like you said, time management's huge. You were a great help with me on that. I mean, we had several phone calls about how I should structure the days and things like that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's you have to have that nailed down. You have to be disciplined to it. You can't, because what ends up happening, it happened to me. What ends up happening is you get up in the morning, you start selling at 9 o'clock. Well, then you notice that your Facebook ads, are the spend is getting too much, and you're not getting enough leads back. So then you go and you start tweaking your Facebook ads. The next thing you know, it's like 3 o'clock, and okay, my selling hours are very few now. And next thing you know, that's happening multiple times a week. So your 40-hour work week turns into, 60 hours, but you're only profitable for 20 of it. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
that's the that it happens way too much. And like I said, for new agents, I wouldn't recommend, starting that way. Definitely, you need to be comfortable selling before you even consider trying to generate your own leads. But you just, it's it's not for everybody, and that's the thing that kind of goes crazy or makes me go crazy, is just because a lot of the people that advertise, these programs say anybody can do it, and that's true. We can also teach, monkeys to play sports, but
Right.
doesn't mean that they're made for it.
Right.
And it's the same to me. It's the exact same thing. An agent that like we know that's in our agency that are writing tons of annuities, tons of final expense, anything you can think of. They're writing a high volume of it. If all of a sudden he was made to do his own self-generating Facebook, I would bet that number goes down at least 50%.
100% right. 100% right.
And there, luckily he's obviously not going to do that.
Right. Smart
And
enough, right?
exactly, and he shouldn't do that. You had said something before. A lot of people do it just to save $1 or $2, and that is absolutely ridiculous. If you're generating your leads, and Facebook leads, typically you can buy them for like $25 a piece right now, 35 around there. If you're generating leads for $30 a piece, or even $20 a piece, it's not worth you doing all the work for it, unless you're generating them for, like my sweet spot was $7 to $10. That's where my conversion rate was really good. That's where my contact rate was still good. That was my sweet spot. If you're not generating leads for half or less, it's not worth the time, I don't think.
Time's money. I mean, that's what,
Yeah,
one or two sales. And it's like the
exactly.
men and women in our agency, they've got exclusive discounts on lead vendors anyway. So it's like when it comes to those kind of leads, we can get them
Yeah.
for almost half of $30 all day, every day. And it's like, just keep stacking your leads and go serve the people. We can sell. If you
Hmm.
just sell one or two extra policies because you're on that phone an additional 20 hours a week, because you're not busy
Exactly.
dealing with your ads getting shut down, or, oh, crud, this ad that worked so well, which was like your star ad, it all of a sudden goes
Yeah.
poof. And this happened to one of our great, agents, and crazy gifted, like master's degrees, very, very smart in marketing, and knows the Facebook systems well, like insanely well. Makes, a lot of people look really ignorant in this industry, very wise. And the ad that worked so great all of a sudden quits gaining traction, and then has to get Facebook ad people involved because they love your Facebook ad spend money.
Yep.
Trust me. And they'll call you. Oh, hey, Jason, how you doing, buddy? Noticed you haven't put much in ads. Let's send some people to help you spend more money over here. They want your money, but it's frustrating. I mean, hours, countless hours. And it unfortunately took this agent off his feet just because
Yeah.
that was his only leg on the stool. And it's sad. I hate it. That's why I want to drop this content to you, the audience. It's not the holy grail. Like other top producers, like like you and I know of, that are amazing. Not just talking even the men and women in my agency. Facebook leads are used as, what, as you say, a
It's a filler.
a filler. Exactly. It's
It's
not
not
the
primary.
primary, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so many people.
you should always treat it that way too. Like I said, you should always see it for what it is. And as soon as you start embellishing what it is, that's when you're not going to be profitable very much longer.
I mean, I'm not saying your car can't help you. Your car's great, right? Make that vehicle run. Your car doesn't have to be sexy or snappy or glamorous. If the car
Yeah.
works, the vehicle works for your leads, great. But Facebook leads are like a bicycle. Go
Yeah.
try to make it across the country. It's going to leave you frustrated and panting, and you're going to be in a bad place if
Oh yeah.
you use that vehicle as your only vehicle. Don't be afraid to have a bicycle strapped to the back of your car.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine, right? Look at Facebook leads that way. It's like a bicycle strapped to the back of your car. It
Yeah.
works. It's fast. It'll get you where you need to go, but it's not what you want to be huffing and a puffing on your whole
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen what drives me insane too is I see people that generate their own Facebook leads, and then they talk about how they hate Facebook leads. And I don't understand that. I like Facebook leads. I'm comfortable with them because I know what they are. I understand. But like I've seen, especially new agents, they get into the advertising and then they're like, I hate Facebook leads. Like, why are you even doing this? What I would, what I would always suggest to people is find a good Facebook lead vendor before you start self-gen. Find a good Facebook lead vendor. If Facebook's your platform, buy leads from them, and then see if you like working them. Because you're even at least the lead vendors that that you have in your agency that you recommend. Because there's a lot of Facebook vendors out there that will sell you recycled leads, and they'll sell you something that's been sold to 3 other agents. So never recommend that. But you should have an idea of what Facebook leads are like before you even start self-generating them. Because if you don't, there's really no point. Like you're just kind of lost. you know. Uh, but it all goes back to a Facebook lead is a Facebook lead. And anytime you try to make it anything more than that, you're just fooling yourself.
Some agents, as we know, are spending thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars to have somebody else. Here's your funnel. Here's everything done. It's you just sit back, give me a couple $1,000 and you're great. And yeah, you're going to be great for a couple weeks until things go stupid. And then it's
Yeah.
like milk that goes sour. It's going to leave a horrible taste
Yeah.
in your mouth because like if you're not being told, your Facebook leads can get shut down, your
Yeah.
own private Facebook ad, and that gets hurt. Okay. You're like, I can live with that. But when your actual Facebook account goes down, whatever your name is, your 12, 14, 18 years of memories just
Yeah.
goes out the window. You're not going to get that back. And
Yeah.
you'll probably regret your decision. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to use Facebook leads. I personally have used Facebook leads
Mm-hmm.
to sell lots of insurance policies, but I know what they are, just like no one knows what
Yep.
they are. It's a filler lead. It works,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you do need a lot of them compared to other lead sources.
Yeah. Yeah. You need, like I said, if you don't have the money or the time to work, I would say 80 plus of those leads a week, at least 80. I would
Mm,
rather see someone around 100 or 115.
absolutely.
If you're not able to work that many, you're not going to turn big numbers. Like you'll make some money, I mean, I've made money off of 25 a week before when I
Yeah.
first started. But to really be a top tier producer and one that's going to stick around for a long time, if you're not working high volumes, in my experience, you're probably not going to, Facebook shouldn't be your primary.
You've
You
had
should.
and you've
Oh,
had
go ahead.
5,000 plus weeks
Yeah.
selling Facebook leads. No big deal. You've done
Oh
it,
yeah.
but you're right. You do need a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You need it. And that's the thing. A lot of people want these, appointments that are, you book, what, 30 appointments in a week. And they think they're going to make a return on that. And sometimes you will. Like sometimes you'll have exceptional weeks where everybody's on the phone, but then the next week Murphy's Law is going to hit you, you know. And whether it's your CRM going down, whether it's the automations aren't sending, or it's just people not picking up the phone, something's gonna come around and kick you, and it's gonna it hurts. And so people should always understand that it's Facebook should never be, in my opinion, Facebook should never be a primary thing. If if you've got other things going on, Facebook is great. I think Facebook is an incredible tool to use when you already have business kind of flowing in, just because you're bound to sell some of them,
Oh, yeah.
and I would never advise anyone to just solely self-generate your Facebook leads. Now, if you're doing YouTube or doing Google or SEO, like with a website, Facebook can be incredible doing things like that, because if you're getting different sources coming in, it all looks great. But yeah, too many people get hurt. Too many new agents fail out. In our industry is pretty much, if you look at the statistics, uh, people should never get into the insurance. Well, just because your chances of succeeding is like what, less than 8% now.
Right.
It's like 92 or 93% of insurance agents fail out in their first year or 2 years. So you want to have you want the odds in your favor. And if you're putting all your eggs into one basket and that basket is self-generating Facebook leads, you're going to be part of the statistic, unfortunately.
I don't know any agent, even at our agency, and we train, we mentor hard. We don't, leave agents wandering, right? Because most agents are like by themselves. They join an agency. Here's a piece of paper. Hope you sell a policy. See you, buddy. Go schedule a Calendly if you want to talk to me. I'll try to make some time for you, maybe next week. And it's like you're so frustrated trying to first off figure out the business, which leads to agents failing. And then if you're focused on the Facebook thing, because that's how you were shined on, you can get out of this industry as fast as you came in when everything goes down. And especially if you spent all your capital on some Facebook system that you think is going to help you sell. It's not just a system. You got to know your script. You've got to be trained and actually coached and helped. And you experienced that prior to, right? Because weren't you doing Facebook leads before in your last agency as well?
Yeah, I've been doing Facebook leads for a long time. And you need an effective script. And that's one thing that a lot of IMOs or whatever you want to call them, agencies, whatever, they kind of forget that part. They get so focused on, whether it's telling people to recruit, whether it's telling them how to generate, leads, charging them for it, which I've heard rumors. But they forget about the most important part, which is what do you say when you have a client on the phone? How should you sound when you say certain things? If you have a really good script, like what we have at your agency, if you have an amazing power script, you will turn money out of whatever leads you're working. Now, you should still be smart about what kind of leads you're working, how often you're working them, and how many. But you need to really, if you're a new agent looking for somewhere to hang your hat, you want to make sure that your recruiter or whoever the upline is still works. That's the big thing for me. I want somebody that's been there and done that. You want somebody that's offers training and it's continuous. It's not just like one time when you sign up and it's videos. For me, personally, some people do great with that, but for me, I want somebody that's going to be training constantly whenever I need them. And then you want a group of a support system that can help you no matter what, even if the odd chance that your upline is away or having to take care of something, because we're humans, things happen, we have to take care of other things sometimes. But like, in our case, in the chances or the times that when you're writing your business, you can't always answer the phone when you're in the middle of a $300,000 annuity. That's a pretty big deal. So the good thing about our group is you have built it in such a way that even if you're away from your phone or not able to, we have 5 or 6 top performers there ready to answer our questions. And that is so important, especially for new agents. To me, that's stacking the odds in your favor. You're putting yourself ahead of the game, whereas most people are coming into the industry with no script, no training, or if it is training, it's from years ago where methods and things have changed and underwriting's changed, and they have no support system. If you can get those 3 things, you're ahead of the curve. Now you still have to work, still got to work hard, and you got to figure out what kind of leads work for you, things like that. But if you can get those those qualities out of your upline or your agency, you're setting yourself way farther than the other 92% that are going to fail out within a few months.
That's wisdom. It's so important. And I appreciate you sharing that with the audience. It's so important that you got good support around you. Like, of course, we're all for ourselves, but we're not by ourselves. We have a lot of fun. We do. It's like to have a family culture. It's fun, and you're a great part of our culture. It's a fun thing to be able to share a Pepsi and hang with the work family and not be like, well, that dude's annoying.
Yeah,
lady's annoying,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, that's that throughout history in teams or organizations, the characters in that organization matter, and their personalities matter. And there's not one person in our group that I wouldn't go have dinner with, or invite him over, or her. There's nobody that I would feel uncomfortable coming and hanging out with me and my wife. And you can't say that about everywhere, especially in this industry. It's important to be with a group that is as top tier and as polished like we are, I think.
I appreciate that. And we do have a good culture, and I'm proud of you and what you've done and your heart and
Thanks.
how you've helped just countless prospects, get not only policies, but more importantly, you've helped them get protection
Yeah.
that their families are now like forever changed. Like when
Yep.
you're selling annuities, you're guarding everything that they want you to
Yeah.
guard through the hands of this insurance company. It's power. And the bonuses that you give your clients through the hands of these insurance companies is like second
Yeah.
to none. Like we've got financial advisors that utilize our insurance agency to help their prospects, their policyholders, their financial advising clients. Financial advisors use us to sell annuities. Crazy because they don't even have the resources that we do. It's amazing that
Yeah.
the same products that we use are the ones that they desire and they
Yeah.
use us for it. That's not always the case in a lot of other agencies. It's just
Mhm.
not. And we're just protecting people. And I'm proud of what you're accomplishing. I mean, you're a holistic agent. You're able to do so much. And it's not easy to do Facebook leads. It's not easy to be a salesman. It's not easy to survive all these years in the insurance world. It's not easy, but it's the best paying hard work
Yeah.
anyone's ever seen in their life. And it is fun. Are the highs pretty darn neat
Oh
when you get
yeah,
that?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and you know as good as anybody, like when all my Facebook stuff got shut down, that was one of the toughest times in my career, and it's still like I still feel the effects of it. You know, it's definitely weird, you know, waking up in the day or for the in the morning and not seeing all of my leads, you know, for the day. I'm doing other things to generate business. But you know, it's important to be able to pivot and things like that. But yeah, the highs and the people that I've been able to help, you know, it's one thing to just offer insurance, right? To offer final expense, but we offer the best A plus rated carriers in the country. Like there is nobody better than what we offer. And when I'm able to have the confidence and I'm telling my clients that, and I fully believe it, and the statistics and the numbers fully believe it too. You know, when you're able to tell your client, like, okay, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to, you know, get you matched up with the absolute best carrier in the country. And there is nobody else that can do what I'm going to do for you. The best thing that they can do is mimic exactly what I've done. And that's, you know, probably 2 in 10 agents can mimic, you know, some of the things that we have. And that's when
Right.
you're able to do that, man, that makes all the low points, you know, worth it. If you're able to, I've had clients, you know, call me even after I've given them a policy, you know, which those calls always make me nervous because, you know, always worried about
Right.
canceling. But no, I had a lady call me with one of our carriers that offers exceptional living benefits. Um, and she was in tears over some of like the things that they had sent her. And all it was like a welcoming packet with some of the, you know, it has a few things in there. But that's the whole reason why she needed the policy. She needed the policy to cover herself, and she needed some of the things that were involved with the living benefit of the policy. And I mean, you know, things like that. I'll go through, you know, hundreds of calls where people, you know, aren't the nicest to me, but if I can find that one person that, you know, I can help, and then I know I put them in a better position, and then I'm going to get paid good for it. I don't
Right.
know what's better than that.
I mean, it's so awesome. And you're able in this industry in the telespace, you're able to travel.
Yeah.
You're not locked down. I mean, I remember chatting with you when you were flying, doing some fun
Hmm.
things, and you're like, "Hey, I got this. I'm going to work out of the room for a while.
Hmm.
Then, you know, my wife and everybody else gets to play, and then I'm going to go pop and, you know, go
Yep.
get it done." I mean, how did that feel when you knew that you could actually have your same financial ability to get gains while
Yeah.
you were on the go?
Oh, it was weird. And I remember when we had that conversation, I was still like wrapping my head around like I can go on vacation and I can still be effective and I can still provide, you know, like because you know previously it wasn't like that. Like if you're a face-to-face agent or if you're, you know, not in the industry, this is one of the few industries you can be in where you can make money from anywhere. You can be sitting in an airport as long as you have your phone, internet connection, and you have somebody to call or talk to, you can make money. And when we were on vacation, um, the deal was that I had to have Wi-Fi. I had to have, you know, my headset. I had to have, you know, my computer and everything. And I was able to make, you know, I made enough money that week. It was pretty much a normal week. And it pretty much I didn't miss a beat, and it wasn't even like I had to work, you know, all day every day. It was, you know, work a few hours in the morning when most people are sleeping anyways, or working later in the evening, and then the rest of the time I got to be on vacation. which, I mean, and it's what I see is kind of weird is, we get to do this every day. Like, we sit here, we put our headset on and we call the greatest generation of all time all day. So, I mean, is it really, obvious, some days it is work, you got to really make yourself, do some things sometimes, but
Absolutely.
it's so rewarding to be able to do that. Number one, to be able to, like I said, serve the greatest generation. And then number two, you can do it from wherever you're at. As long as you have internet, a phone, and a headset, you're good.
So awesome. Because your face-to-face days back, you couldn't
hmm
just go on vacation and make money, right? You couldn't like
No,
just launch out there and
no. If I was still face to face, I wouldn't have been able to go on that trip. Absolutely not. It would
it's
have. The thing about insurance, unless you're a few years into it, which like I said before, I've been doing this for a few years, so I have renewals and residuals and things like that. Um, but if I hadn't had that and I wasn't doing telesales, there's no way. Because if you're a face to face person, whenever you're not in the field, your income stops. Um, and then if you're on the phone, if you're a telesales guy, you can talk to way more people and you can do it from the comfort of your office, your phone, or your house. And you don't have to drive. Don't have to, sit in homes and things like that. And you get paid the same. So to me, if I can talk to more people, do it from a place where I'm more comfortable and I'm in control, I'll probably outperform a face-to-face agent.
oh goodness, yes. And do you remember when one of our female agents was selling from a parking lot when
Yeah.
their spouse was getting uh,
Yeah.
some surgery done? It was
Yeah.
so awesome. You remember that one? From one
Oh
of our
yeah.
work family agents. We won't drop her name, but yeah, remember
Yeah.
that when she was like,
Yeah.
guys,
That was
I
awesome.
just made a sale. I'm in the parking lot in my car.
Yeah.
And she's
That was
like
like one
on
of
her
her
cell
first
phone.
ones too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, I
that
mean,
was so
like things like that, she was able to, her husband had surgery. She was able to, number one, which is insane, make money at the hospital in the parking lot from her car. And also she was able to, stay home with him and, take care of him while still being able to, if you can set aside a couple hours a day, and it doesn't even have to be consecutive. If you can set aside some and you have good leads to call and you got a good script, you'll make money doing that. You'll make your money back at least. And obviously the goal is to have a huge ROI, which I believe you will. If you have the right training, right support. But there's, she was able to take care of her family and provide for it at the same time. There's not a lot of industries where you can do that.
absolutely. I mean, that flexibility is huge. I
Oh
mean, I
yeah.
love telesales. I go face to face because I train a national agency with face to face as well. So, when I go out there, I'm like, oh, sorry, no, I'm going out in the field. Here we go. I'm
Yep.
going to come in smelling like cat piss when I'm done.
Yep.
It is what it is. But
Yep.
I'm not going to detach myself from our face to face crew. I'm just not. I'm going to go get after it with them. But everybody knows my heart is in the telespace.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It
Yeah.
is. There's no
Yeah.
life like
It's a
this.
skill, and I would never suggest anybody to just do it, out of nowhere with no script or no guidance. You definitely need training. You need, good power script. But once you have it down, there's nothing like it. And to me, there's nothing better.
And it takes work for you, the audience. It does take work. It takes a lot of hustle. It does. And it takes belief. It's the backbone really of this industry. And it's not always easy. But
Yeah.
once you get those renewals that pour in, once you've been in this industry long enough, it's amazing. Would you ever imagine going to a W-2 where they tell you when to take a break and a lunch break and a vacation? Could you
No.
imagine doing that?
I couldn't. Not for me. It's there's people that do that, that's what they're made for, and I'm just not that. I can't imagine having to ask somebody permission to go to lunch or do whatever with my family. I'm very blessed to be able to do this, and that's why I work hard to keep that way.
Absolutely. And I appreciate, you coming on and helping the audience hopefully understand just some of
Yeah.
the pros of designing your own Facebook leads. Some of the
hmm
pros to it is, yes, you can get some lower cost leads, but be careful of if it seems too good to be
Yeah.
true, then it probably is. You know,
Absolutely.
places that are adding, I got a lead for 89 cents a lead and I wrote 5 grand off of it. Yeah, they got a
Yeah.
unicorn. That's
Yeah.
that's not that's not the truth. Reality is different. Like look at a real view, not
Yeah.
just this tight little. group.
Yeah, Facebook leads are great for, the thing I like about being able to generate your own is you're in control of it, right? You're in control of the quality. But the thing is that, if you're going to have a quality lead, it's not going to cost 89 cents. It's going to cost, like for me, like I said, for me, it was anywhere from $7 to $10 pretty much most of the time, sometimes 12. But wasn't 89 cents. And, that's not sustainable, because like you said, it's a unicorn. So you're going to be spending your career and your weeks of work finding unicorns.
When AEP hits, when all this stuff hits, your lead cost is going up. I
Yeah.
mean, it just is what it is when you're doing your own Facebook leads. I'd rather let a professional marketer go handle that, and I'll go give him my money. Go ahead, go give me leads at your fixed cost, and I
Yeah.
get them in my pocket. I don't got to sweat it. I just know that I can sell, and you
Right.
can sell. So you're like, okay, buy leads, sell the people, take care of them, serve them. We're done.
Right.
But to be that professional marketer, just be careful. There's some pros. There are some pros to it, but it can push you out of this industry. Every single agent that has ever jumped into the make your own Facebook leads, been sold it, or had it done for them, has been extremely frustrated long term, has not lasted in the industry. And I've done
Yeah.
this industry a long time. So is Noah. And I don't know a single veteran agent in the history of me being in this industry that only uses Facebook leads. They use them
Yeah.
as a filler. It's a filler.
Yep.
And most people don't find this out till it's way too late. So if you need to make
Yeah.
your own Facebook leads, I'll put some videos up here, some links, or reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com. I'll give you some free resources. Don't be paying for this. You can get this same exact data for $0 and then go zero in. If you want to do Facebook leads, fine, go zero in on it. Go play with it. But please don't make it your primary. It'll hurt you. It'll hurt you. So, well, I appreciate you, Noah. Thank you for joining us. Any words of advice to those of the viewers that are thinking about going that route?
Yeah. Like Jason said, there's too many free resources out there now to pay somebody to do it for you. If you're going to go the route of self-gen, be careful. Everybody, and there's too many people in this industry that think they're experts in it. And in all honesty, I've only met two people that I think really have the advertising nailed down. And one of them is on YouTube. He has free resources on YouTube. He has a great system. He's got an interview, I think, on Jason's channel. So check
Absolutely.
that out. He's got a system dialed down, and like I said, he's one of the two people that I feel like really have everything down to especially profit wise, to a very, very good point. Don't get shined on. If you think it's too good to be true, I promise you it probably is. You're not gonna. You need to understand a Facebook lead is a Facebook lead. Facebook lead, and even a Facebook appointment is it a Facebook appointment. It's not. It's not somebody coming to you to find insurance. It's somebody that saw it. It was in their way on their news feed, and they clicked on it. So you got to understand that, and you should never think of think of it as anything more than that. You should always know that you know you can work your butt off on those leads and make good money. I mean, as good as I do that there's people that do make really good money, but the trick is that it's not their sole source of leads. A lot of people work TV leads or live transfers and then have Facebook leads to call while they're waiting on the transfer. That's a really good method. I'm not a big fan of live transfers, but if you're that kind of agent, I would encourage you to, try to go that route. Try to generate yourself 25, 30 leads a week and then have your live transfers going the rest of the time and just use them again as filler leads, not primary.
Right.
And then, if you're wanting to build a brand, I personally don't think Facebook is the place to build a brand. I think it's Google. If you're wanting to do something like that, you need a website, you need things like that. But I don't think Facebook is really the kind of place to build a brand, especially in our industry. Seniors don't get on Facebook to buy insurance. They get on Facebook to check on their grandkids and check on everything else that's going on. So definitely you need good guidance in it. And like I said, there's resources Jason has. He can put you in the right direction. And you need good people that have the track record of success and that know what they're doing, and that more importantly, the people that they've taught have good success.
Right.
You know, you want that. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want somebody that has already been there and done that. And that goes even, you know, across Facebook ads. That's one thing, but even in the insurance sales in general, there's too many agency owners that haven't wrote business in years, and they're not at the retirement age. They're just not writing business, you know. And
Right.
so, you know, if you're a new agent looking into the industry, don't get shined on. It's hard work. You might, it feels like sometimes you work harder than you did. You know, even me, yeah, I used to work outside, do a lot of things. Sometimes it feels like I've worked harder on this job than I did there, but it's, you know, it's a different kind of hard work. It's more of a mental game. But you know, you need a support system, you need training, especially with telesales, you need training. So don't be afraid of that. And you got to me, the best opportunity is right here on this channel. There's tons of free resources here on Jason's YouTube, and so there's not really any other place to look, I don't think.
Oh, and I appreciate that. And it's so important to have good training, have good mentorship, and just good people like Noah and other great agents around you. It's you're going to be a result of the 5 or
Yeah,
10 or hundreds of people that you surround yourself with, and you got to just be careful who is rubbing shoulders with you because you're going to
yeah,
smell like them. Just like when you walk into certain houses and you walk out smelling like what you walked into.
yep,
And sometimes when you're smelling a little different, maybe it's because who you're hanging with. And
yeah,
even when you're looking at, Facebook leads, understand that Facebook's pretty saturated. Listen to
yes,
what he's sharing with you. Go the Google route, go the SEO route. Don't go the path that every herd of lemming is jumping off of right now. And insurance agents can be victim to this. Oh, make your own Facebook leads. Awesome. Let me give somebody a couple grand. Let's go this direction. And you go over a cliff like what we've
yeah.
seen. And sometimes people that even sell you these systems, if the system was so great, why in the stinking world are they not selling insurance if it's really that easy? Think
Oh
about that.
yeah, that's my
All they
thing.
do is, if it's really that good, why in the world are they not selling
Yeah,
insurance like on the daily? If it's really that easy, why in the world aren't they stacking crazy numbers themselves? It's because
yeah,
it's not.
exactly. Yeah, like I mean, I know some, and you know too, some very high performing people that, you know, have good
Absolutely.
websites, have their advertising down to a T, and you know they're producing, you know, 500 grand or 750 a year
Absolutely.
off of that. And the thing is, they're not, you know, they're not selling their courses on how to, you know, how to advertise on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, some of those people will help you, and they're, you know, they're great people. I
Yes.
mean, they've even helped me a bunch, and
Absolutely.
but they're not selling the course. You know, to me, if I had something that was that great, dude, I would have like 5 or 6 agents under me, and then I would just let it loose and not tell a soul about it. Because, like you said, Facebook's saturated. Everybody and their brother that's coming into the insurance industry is advertising on Facebook. And you know, the thing about SEO is it's great, but you got to work for a long time without seeing any return on it.
Absolutely.
And if you're not ready for that, then and same thing with Facebook. If you're not ready to work a lot without, you know, seeing, you might not even see a profit your first week or your first 2 weeks while you're getting everything dialed in. If you're not ready for that, you just need to buy leads. You don't need to even try and fool with self generating.
Absolutely. Well, Noah, thank you for joining us. The audience, I hope you enjoy this content. Hope it saves you some
Yeah,
financial pain. Hope it saves you some frustration by the rawness and the realness of this. Is it wrong to make your Facebook leads? Of course not. Just use the free resources up here
yeah,
and go get the same data without paying more than you should. And when you get frustrated because things get shut down, please don't say that no, and I didn't attempt to warn you a
yeah,
little bit. All right, we're attempting.
yeah, exactly.
Give you some transparency. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you, audience. Noah, thank you for being here. Lead us out.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys.
All right.